What's up, YouTube? So this is String Tension. My name is Tom. I run the Frozen Brews YouTube channel, and I do reviews and other random stuff. I put up daily videos, and I am joined here by my good friend Sam Hicks and the man Bird, Michael Ferdico. But I'll let Sam talk first. Sam, what's up?
What's up, guys? I'm Sam Hicks. I used to make tutorials on my channel. Hopefully, I'll have another one coming up soon. I also post unboxings, trick videos, and this podcast. Michael?
Hey guys, this is Michael, also known as the Bird, recent addition to the Caribou Lodge team, CLYW, and I occasionally do pretty okay at yo-yo contests. Maybe you know me from there. If not, hi, I'm Michael. Yeah. So the guys invited me to be on this podcast, and because I have a lot of competition experience, they wanted to focus in the topic on something contest related, and I thought that it be really interesting to talk about. I think a lot of people lately have been sort of noticing and commenting on the fact that contests, not as many people are kind of going and entering contests as they sort of used to. And, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about like why that might be happening or like what changes have occurred that have led to that and maybe what could make contests more appealing to people who aren't entering for whatever reason. So I think one thing that gets brought up a lot is just that it's pretty expensive to enter a contest, and it is really difficult to do particularly well at one.
Wasn't a BAC like
Like
$70?
especially, I think it was around that to enter a pro division, and I think that there were only pro divisions at BAC this year.
Yeah, because that can be discouraging to like a beginner player who wants to go to a contest and maybe just compete for fun, and they see the price tag at $70. Like you could buy a brand new one drop or a brand new CLYW yo-yo for that price. So I think for a lot of people that wasn't worth it, and it was only worth it for the people who thought they had a shot to win.
Yeah, BAC definitely the level of talent like it didn't have the most competitors of like any BAC or any contest that's happened, but like the average skill level of people entering was like ridiculously high. Like that was maybe one of the highest like average skill levels of a competitor list I think I've ever seen. It was crazy. So
It
like
was
yeah,
really high. I saw when I looked down the list of names and just who was competing. I was just like, oh man, this is just a contest. I'm just gonna want to like let the freestyles play and just let them go. And I'll be honest, when I saw I wasn't surprised to see you score highly, but when I saw some really big names like score like not within the top 10, I was like, oh wow, this competition, the competition at this contest was really really high, although there weren't that many entries it seemed like, but the like competition level was like it was more or less the top 20 players or whatever in the United States competing with a few other people, and it was kind of an insane level of competition.
yeah, I honestly like if I had had to go through prelims at that contest, I'm like not sure I would have made it because I'm like I guess just like a quick shout out like Angelo Aguirre actually had like one of the coolest prelims I've ever seen and didn't make the cut. I think largely because of the wind, which was a real shame. But yeah, like I thought that prelim was better than mine would have been, so I was like, whew, luck out. But like yeah, so
It's
that just goes to show like you can be so good and still not make it. And I think like something that I was actually talking about with some people somewhat recently, I think when I was in Seattle, I might have been talking to Martin Sanchez or someone about this, was just like I feel like when I was younger at contests, like more people would enter the like non-championship divisions. Like if there was like a sport or amateur 1A division, like that'd be pretty popular. And if there was even like a sport ladder division or like beginner division or like there were all these like other divisions that people could enter. And I feel like they don't always even show up at contests. And when they do, there's like no one in them. And
Well, Sam and I are going to go to Ohio State's here in another, I guess it's next weekend. Today's Saturday. Yeah,
oh
it's
yeah, it's
next
coming up.
Saturday. And Sam and I are going to go to that. There is a sport ladder at that. I'm not entering. I'm really just going to buy yo-yos. I'm just going to buy yo-yos and hang out. But there is a sport ladder, and I kind of want to be there on. It's like a 2 hour, a little bit more than 2 hour drive for me. So I do want to be there like early enough to catch some of that, just to see what it's all about. Because I've
Hmm.
never actually seen one in person. Like I've seen videos of it, but I do want to see what it's all about because I've read the rules to that, and that is something that would appeal to me as a player because I don't really want to compete in the free with a freestyle and what have you because that's just not. You know, I'm an old guy. I'm 32 years old, and I kind of grew up when I grew up, when I was a kid, like contests were a sport ladder. So that's kind of my idea of what a yo-yo contest is. Not to say that I wouldn't compete in a freestyle at some point in time. I'm just not confident enough at it. But a sport ladder is certainly something that I'd be willing to do within like a year from now or so. But as of right now,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, okay, I just want to see how it goes and then kind of go from there. But I mean, I agree with you. I think it's one of those things where it's like the drop off is so like there's not that many people who want to go and compete, but it seems like at the same time more and more people get into yo-yo. So it's kind of like it's off balance, and it's like, well, how do you kind of balance it out a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, like at a Utah States that I went to, actually, there was a sport ladder division, and a lot of times at contests, if you enter a pro division, you can't enter a sport ladder, but at this one you could, and I was like super stoked because like I think the last time I did sport ladder at a contest was literally 10 years ago, so it was just like really like nostalgic and fun for me to get to do it. And the way they did it there was they had sport ladder on stage and everyone was watching because there were only like four competitors or something, which I thought was crazy. I thought everyone was going to enter because it was like $5 or $10 or something, and it was just like fun. And but it was actually really hype because it was on stage and like there were like all these like non-yo-yo people and like parents in the audience who didn't really get what it was about, and it was like, oh, like what's the next trick? Is he gonna hit it? Like there was a lot of like there was actually a lot of like drama to it when it was done that way.
Yeah, that's I mean that's how it was. That was I mean that was all there was back in like the 90s, like the mid 90s when I was like in middle school. That was all it was. I only went to like two contests as a kid. There was one here in Pittsburgh. God, it must have been 95 or 96. And then I think we went to Columbus for one a year or two later. And I didn't compete in either of them, but I watched and like wandered around and bought yo-yos, some of which I still have. So I have like a super old like Dale Oliver's like Technic Spintastics that I bought at one of those contests that just kind of like hangs out in a box in my basement.
Whoa.
But it's it was a really cool thing because like you said, it's a lot of drama. It's like, okay, what's the next trick? Oh man, is he gonna hit it? Is it gonna happen? Because it's not so much like, okay, well, you get to pick the tricks, you get to pick the song, and just like, did your performance score better than somebody else's performance? It was more of a like, okay, do this trick and go. It was more like horse really than like if you're playing
Yeah.
basketball. It was more like horse than it was um like a like sort of judging based upon the performance. It was like, can you do this trick? No? Okay, you're out. Next, kind of a thing, which was, I guess, more tense, at least to everybody who was in the audience. So while I love watching freestyles, I think that's way better for me as someone who plays yo-yo on a daily basis to watch. Um, as far as the drama is concerned, for somebody who maybe doesn't play yo-yo, I really do think that sport ladder thing is really a cool like addition because it's not so much like, oh, well, I play yo-yo, and that was what he just did was really hard compared to what the guy did before him, and he should have won as opposed to the guy that didn't win based on a performance level. But like to just watch like a trick ladder go up, it's like there's like a lot of drama there because it's like, oh man, if you just mess up, it's like, okay, you're done. You lose. Next. And anybody can mess up a trick, like any trick.
It's
So
so easy. It's so easy to
yeah.
mess up. Um,
All
and
I
another
mess
thing
up
is
all.
just that I feel like you were talking before about how like the price can be like a deterrent to enter a contest, which is like I don't I've never like organized an event, so I don't know this for sure, but I feel like that sort of creates this like vicious circle of like it's expensive it's like registration has to be expensive to afford the venue, but then it's so expensive that people don't enter. And then there's fewer entrants, so you have to charge more for each one to pay for the venue.
I
But
mean,
I think that
I'm sure you could get like if there was a contest in Arizona, I'm sure Yo-Yo Factory would host it for free because they have like
Yeah.
a whole factory there, or like a whole building there. They have a whole warehouse there, and I'm sure they have plenty of space in like the parking lot to have a contest, or maybe at a toy store. I'm sure a toy store would host it for free. And I think if like more people, like if I walked up to my local Toys R Us and asked them if they wanted to host a yo-yo contest, or maybe talk to the manager, or I'm sure somebody would want to host one. One of the toy stores around here would want to host one because that would be fun and they'd get more customers. They could sell stuff there, they could sell products there, and get a lot of money if there were a lot of yo-yos in my area, which there aren't. But like in a place like California, if you could get one of the local toy stores there to host one, they could do it for free because they'd get benefit from all the people in their store, and they could like sell yo-yos and stuff there. And the prices to get in and the prices to compete would be a lot cheaper. So I think that's a potential way to fix the problem.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Ohio's got a huge yo-yo scene.
it's sometimes possible. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, it's like
Are you good?
sometimes there is the potential for like free venues and stuff, and I think that's cool. Like a lot of times contests are held in like public spaces and libraries and stuff, like smaller contests. But I mean, just in general, like I don't know, I love the idea of there being like cheaper options to compete if you want to like support the contest or whatever, but don't want to just like enter like the shark pit of the BAC prelims.
Well, and on top of that, I feel like if you pay $70 to enter a contest, and I'm not sure what the prizes are for something like BAC or what have you, but all the contests I've been to are okay. So the guy, you pay to get into the contest or whatever. The vast majority of people don't win anything, but the top two or three competitors win a bag full of yo-yos, and more often than not, that bag full of yo-yos is not something that any of them can actually use because the guys that won are already sponsored. They already have to use the yo-yos from their sponsor that they need to play with. So, and I can imagine like, you probably have won a couple of contests before where they hand you, you know, a one drop that you've already got or something you've already played with or something or whatever. And it's not a yo-yo you can take with you and use particularly now because now that you're sponsored, you can't, get a, one drop rebirth and be like, oh, this is great. I already have one, but I'm going to use this one at the next competition because you can't do that, because now you're sponsored and what have you. So it's like, you paid $70 to enter. Yeah, you won and you won a couple of yo-yos, but you won some yo-yos that are more or less useless tools to you. And what are you going to do with those? So it's like, you paid to come in and to win, but at the same time, were your winnings actually worth it? And I don't know if maybe you can elaborate on, do you usually just win yo-yos? Do you ever win cash or how's that go?
There's some contests that have cash prizes. A lot of contests give out like Yo-Yo Expert and Yo-Yo Best Buy gift cards, or maybe just the contests I usually go to because I've lived on like the Northeast and Northern California, which is like right next to Yo-Yo Expert and right next to Yo-Yo Best Buy. So I guess they're
Yeah.
just kind of like there and sponsoring, running everything. So that might be why that. It's usually gift cards and or yo-yos, sometimes cash that I've seen. But I will say that I think I might be a little bit different than a lot of people, but I do actually really like winning yo-yos, even if they aren't ones that I can like use at the next contest or like was like if even if it's not something I really like wanted or was looking forward to getting.
Because you get to
It's
try the
really
yo-yos and stuff.
yeah, it's often really fun to just like get a yo-yo that you weren't expecting and be like, oh, well, I guess like now that I have it, I might as well try it out. And then you do, and it's like, oh, this is a lot of fun. Like I'll just this can be like my like I don't know like break yo-yo like at lunch like or it's something. I can just whip this out and like throw a couple tricks, and it's fun. It's different. It's something I wouldn't have experienced otherwise. So I do
Yeah, I
think
guess
that's
that,
fun.
I guess I guess that may I guess is I guess coming from my perspective, I guess it's different for because like your perspective is clearly like competing, like you compete a ton, which is awesome. By the way, keep doing that because I like watching your freestyles.
Thanks.
And but like for me, it's like oh, if a yo-yo interests me, like I'm an adult, I have a full-time job. It's like for the most part, yo-yos aren't that terribly expensive to me, so it's like oh okay, well I'll just grab that if I like it or if I'm interested in it. So to me, if it was like if I got into competing and like I were to win yo-yos, more than likely, whatever yo-yo I would win, I would already have one of. It may be a different
Mhm.
color, but I would already have one, and I'd be like, I already have this. Okay, thanks, I guess. Regardless of what brand it was or what it was, or if it was like a Yo-Yo Expert gift card or something, I'd be like, oh, great. And then I'd be like, well, this is cool. But then it'd be like money burning a hole in my pocket. And regardless of how
Oh
much it
yes.
was, I'd be like, okay, well, now I got to get this. And say it was $100 gift card. I'd spend like $200 and be like, well, I paid to enter this, and then I got this gift card, but then I spent another $100 on top of that, and yeah.
Well, that's
So
the
Yeah.
reason that the
Yes.
companies contribute the gift cards for free because they know that they can get a profit off of it,
Yeah.
and they're supporting the contest.
I think that like if you're competing at a very high level, like there's just not enough money really in it in yo-yo for that for like the prizes you get to be a main motivator. I think that they're nice. It's always really fun, whatever. Like it's really fun to get anything as payback for your efforts, right? But if you're like competing at the top level and like trying to win worlds, nationals, whatever, like you're doing it because you want that title. The title matters so much more than anything else. Like I guess I'm sure for some people, like if there's like $1,000 cash prize on the line or something, like that might be the difference in practicing like extremely hard versus practicing a little bit. But I think generally, if you're like in that realm, it's like the real prize is like knowing that you did it, I guess.
Well, on that note, um, a lot of a lot of other big like extreme sports, I guess. Well, not other big extreme sports. Yo-yoing's quite small, but there are cash prizes for winning stuff. Like if you win the X Games, I'm sure you get a lot of money for that. But
Oh yeah.
in yo-yoing, there isn't any of that because there seems to be a lot of people who want the sport to stay extremely small. They want it to be like just for them and the small group of people. But really,
Yeah.
I think I've said this before. Growing the community is basically good for everyone, retailers and customers, because the retailers get more money, and a lot of people could possibly make that their full-time job, and then they
Hmm.
can produce more product for the consumer, and even at a cheaper price.
Dating
well,
is a
just to
weirdly you go
go
on.
ahead.
I was
Okay.
gonna say like
Well, just
gaming
to
is
kind of
just in a
no, go.
lagged out.
I want to hear what
You
you have to
go.
say. I'll piggyback.
All right, all right. I was just gonna like gaming is just in a weird like niche place where it's like it's very difficult to everyone always says that to the uninitiated, like it's really difficult to tell different tricks apart and understand what's hard and like why one person is better than another or something like that. And it's just really hard to bring it to like a mass market and like make it appealing to like the sort of big sponsors that are behind something like skateboarding or whatever that I don't know. I think a lot of people are drawn to just like the physicality and danger of a lot of other sports, and yo-yo is still sort of thought of as like the weird 90s like fad thing, not like I don't know. It's the weird combination of like being very impressive to see a little bit of, but like less impressive to see a lot of, and just not it doesn't carry the right cultural weight to really just make that jump or something.
Well, I think especially in yo-yoing's case, it just needs a way to promote itself. Like you saw how fidget spinners got big. Yo-yoing's
Mm,
a lot like fidget spinners, and if we can get like if somebody some video of somebody yo-yoing could get a couple million views and a bunch of people see it and a bunch of people are interested in getting into the hobby, we could get a big break like fidget spinners.
Just to kind of piggyback off what you guys said, as far as expanding the community is concerned, that's kind of one of the things that I tend to focus on pretty often
mm,
on my channel. And basically, anytime I bring up a discussion about it, there's always somebody like 85% of the people who comment are like, yeah, yo-yoing should be huge. It's great. But then there's always that like small niche of people who are like, no, 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 no. No, yo-yoing is only a small thing. It's only ever going to be a small thing. It should only be a small thing because when things get big, just think of like, I hate to bring it to like video games, but think of like the World of Warcraft community or like the League of
mm.
Legends community. It's so toxic, and think of how great our community is, and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, yeah, man, I understand that, but like, you know what? If I had like right now my subscriber count is something like 1,040 or something like that, and I
Congrats
think
on
that some of the
1,000.
biggest. What now?
Congrats on 1,000.
Oh yeah, thanks. It was a tough grind. Um, but like my subscriber count is not that high comparatively to like a lot of channels, and I think some of the biggest yo-yo channels who are like national champions like yo-yo channels or like you know people who've been around and in the yo-yo scene for a really, really, really long time, like Ann Connolly or Brandon Vu or whatever. I mean, their subscriber counts are only in like the 20,000, rankings, and it's like, that's in as far as that's concerned, like those are small channels too. Um, you know, I know it's like 20 times the size of my channel, but it's like 20,000 on a YouTube channel is really not that much when like I kind of come from the guitar community too, where like some smaller guitar channels are 20 or 30,000, and the most medium guitar channels are like 150 or 200,000 channels, and people that play like less people play guitar now than they did in the 90s or in the 80s or whatever, but it's still like a much bigger thing. So to me it kind of comes back to like every time I kind of try to like push this like, look, you guys need to go to Yo-Yo Club. Go to Yo-Yo Club. Do this. Get your friends excited. Here, I'm going to give away a yo-yo. It's free. Get your friend excited with this yo-yo. Just take this yo-yo and give it to your friend. And it just kind of I'm met with some sort of a resistance of like, no, it's a niche community, and like I'm not going to like grow the yo-yo community by myself like exponentially or anything like that, but even like my little push is still sort of met with resistance a little bit. And I feel like there's sort of that like whole stigma over the whole thing where it's like there are a few people who are like they want to be that one guy who plays yo-yo, and they don't want to be one of 10 guys that play yo-yo. But like Sam said before, growing the community is only good for everybody. Like, it's good for me, it's good for Sam, it's good for you, because let's say that we have another yo-yo boom. Like, you're clearly at the top of your game, or at the top of the game. So let's say the yo-yo community goes from a few thousand people, or a million people or whatever it is at the moment, to you know tens or hundreds of millions of people who are really into playing with yo-yo. And it's not, I understand that there's like a difficulty gap there, but I don't feel like the gap is so huge that like it's insurmountable. You know what I mean? Like you put in a solid week's worth of like work, and you can land a trapeze, and you can do maybe double or nothing or whatever. You can figure out how to bind or whatever, and you just kind of go from there. And it's the kind of thing you build on, and it's kind of a very uh, rewarding sort of a feeling, or a rewarding sort of a hobby to have. And to I feel like the resistance that we kind of get, at least within the YouTube community and what have you, is sort of unfounded, and kind of like I'm always sort of taken aback when I get some resistance, because it's like, really, you don't want yo-yo to grow? But I feel like that would also grow the contest scene at the same time.
It would be really interesting to see how the contest scene would change if there was another yo-yo boom. I'm I feel like things are already getting like so difficult. Like everyone's so good. Like it's like not it's everyone is so good. And if it like exploded in popularity and like there was like more money and everything involved, and everyone was practicing even harder, and then like within like a year there was like a whole new wave of like kids that practice crazy hard, because like people already get stupid good stupid fast. Like I'm sure there are probably 20 kids in driving distance of me that have yo-yoed for a year that can do way better tech than me. It's just, I'm certain that's true. And if it was a boom, like I can't even imagine what that would be like. It would be, I'm, I have to say that I like the niche community that we have. I'm not against growing it, but I do like it. I would love to see what it would look like. I hope that it would be a change that would be for the better of everyone and me. I assume that it would be. I wish that I could like see like the parallel universe where that's happening and just know what it's like, you know?
Absolutely, I feel like that kind of hits the nail on the head, where it's like I feel like to compete at something versus just being like a casual, like, well, I'm really good at this, but there's like that extra level of like being able to do it in front of people, because I hate to bring up guitars again, but as somebody who just kind of, has played guitar for a long time, some of the best guitar players I've ever seen play or have ever had the privilege of playing with ever, um, I've seen them get up on stage and just sort of cower in front of a crowd, and just, they sort of collapse within themselves, and they're just not as impressive as they would be in sort of a one-on-one scenario. And I feel like kind of yo-yoing would, at least competition yo-yoing would be in a similar way. Like it's one thing to be able to kind of do tech by yourself in your room and just kind of sit there and like pull off amazing tricks in front of your cell phone camera or whatever. But then to do it in front of a crowd, sort of in an open area with people either cheering or booing if you miss, or what have you. Because if it grew, people would boo. Like, you've been to sporting events, like, people boo.
Oh
Um,
yeah, God, that'd be terrifying.
and right. So, I feel like, at that point, there's sort of the whole like, well, what kind of a competitor is he? Because it's like, well, you can be the best player in the world, but if you're a crappy competitor, you're never gonna be much of anything. I kind of feel like that's sort of where like your kind of expertise comes in, where it's like, not only you're a great player, but you're sort of competitor, and like, you can hear the cheers, and like when you hear the cheers, you sort of feed off of it. It seems like, and that I think is kind of a, sort of credit to you and a credit to a lot of players who have the ability to sort of just like, kind of go up there and just do a freestyle, hear some cheers, feed off of that, do better because people are cheering for them, because what they're pulling off looks great and is great. And I feel like that's kind of where the disconnect would come in between like the competitors and just the, the bedroom players, is that, the competitors like would need to feel the like cheer of the crowd and like all of that, whereas the bedroom players are like, yeah, they're really good, but you put them in front of people and it's like, they tend to get nervous, they're not so great in front of crowds and what have you, because that's a big thing.
Yeah. If the scene exploded like that, it'd be really cool to see how like narratives and like stories and just I don't know, like the history would evolve. Because I mean, I don't know, just more people talking about it kind of like makes everything more real and like might even like invent narratives that aren't necessarily real. Because my other like thing that I'm like kind of into that's like a niche thing, I guess, is like I watch a lot of like professional Super Smash Brothers. And in that, it's cool because like it's just a game. Obviously, it's just a game. But like if you watch a lot of it, you sort of like get to know the players and like what they're like in interviews and like what they do specifically, like what decisions they make in the game that like match their personality or like define who they are, and you learn who to root for and stuff. And seeing that happen in the yo-yo community on a huge scale would be like so cool. Like seeing
I
like thousands of people talking about like because like right now like I guess like the major narrative in America, right, is like Zach and Gentry are the two best players because they've been getting top two at nationals for the last however many years. And it's like how could there be like a more perfect like two people with like such like opposite styles that are both so good. Like one has like the most ridiculous like crazy technical messy unique creative tricks, and the other has the most like understandable and pretty and just like functional, smart. Like I don't want to. Obviously, both of all the adjectives I'm using could apply to both of them pretty well, but you know what I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
Gentry
such
definitely
opposite
appeals to
styles
somebody
that are
who's
just, but
never
they're
yo-yo
so evenly
before.
matched. Yeah, like if you show someone Zach and Gentry, it's like, oh, I get it. Like you can do so much with this toy. And if there were just like people talk, but if there were people talking about that for like every player. Like if every player had like their niche they were known for in like a sporting like fan kind of way, that would be so cool, I think.
No, I
And
totally
that
agree.
would make
I absolutely agree.
contests a lot more interesting too. Like, yeah, I'm just thinking about like what different players would be, like what their roles would become. Like, it'd be really cool to see if there was like a villain that emerged, you know? Because right now the community is so small that everyone just like knows each other and likes each other. But if it got big, like I bet there'd be someone who just showed up and was like, everyone else is bad. I don't like this guy. I'm gonna beat him. And like that would be a really big shift for the community, but boy, would it be interesting to watch.
There totally needs to be a yo-yo heel. Everybody likes everybody. There needs to just be a heel. I feel
Well,
like there used to be. Like in the 90s, I feel like I don't know if Steve Brown was a heel necessarily in the way that like professional wrestling would have a heel, but like there were guys like Steve Brown or who else? I mean, there were yeah, like Tyler Severance. I don't know if Tyler was a heel necessarily, but there were guys who were a little bit more extreme as far as that, the content they were putting out was concerned. So they weren't as necessarily as kid friendly as say a Gentry Stein would be. Um,
yeah, they were like
but
the Big Brother magazine versus the other skateboarding magazines back in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good way to put it.
I feel like there have been like people who brag and act like they're better than everybody else, but because the community's so like nice, everybody just kind of shuts them out and doesn't really care about them until they become irrelevant. Like
Hmm.
I've seen people brag about them winning a contest and stuff like that, or brag about them getting sponsored, but then it's like they become irrelevant really quick, and nobody really lasts and stays like a significant part of the community while also being slightly toxic.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Need like a macho man. Oh yeah,
That would be cool to see.
right? Just
Yeah.
somebody up there to like intimidate. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Honestly, I also think that like just content creation, like what you guys are doing, kind of plays a big role in all this, just because, like but with like you were saying, like with guitar content and like with Smash Bros content, with like all these other like hobbies and stuff, if you just like search on YouTube, you can like be deep in a hole watching like 30 different people talk about this stuff for like 2 weeks, like without stopping easily.
Oh yeah.
And I
Yeah,
feel like
if
with
you want to
yo-yoing,
watch any videos on yo-yo or on video games, you could watch
yeah.
like videos on a single video game for like a whole year.
Oh
But
yeah, you
with
could watch
yo-yos,
videos.
like there's only enough content to like every day to watch. Well, some people like Tom and Dylan Kowalski put out like a 5 to 15 minute video every day. So you have that, but then besides that, all the other channels that don't post a lot only post like a couple minutes of content every day. So
Yeah.
you probably
I feel
get
like a,
max like 20 minutes of yo-yo content every day on an average day. And I think anybody who has a camera, a yo-yo, and a computer should just make a YouTube channel because
hmm.
you're not gonna get hate if you're one of the only people who's making content. Like make a tutorial or something. Make an unboxing or review. Like some people don't like unboxings, but at least it's content and at least it's slightly entertaining.
Yeah, I'm really interested in. I have some ideas for content I want to start pushing out relatively soon that hopefully I get to realize.
Well, like some adults, like you might have a job. Well, right now I know you don't have like an official job that takes up your whole day, but a lot of people do have a job. So if you like can't fit it into your day, I understand that. But if you're like a teenager and it's summer break, you don't have any high school homework or anything like that, just like pick up your phone and film something and then edit it on your computer. Editing's not that hard.
Yeah, I have a full time job and I put up I have a full time job and two kids and I put up content every day. So it's really not that hard.
Round of
Literally,
applause.
like the content that I put up on a day, like the however long it takes you to watch it, it maybe took me. I mean, clearly it took me that long to film it. I don't refilm anything, which is why when you see mistakes, it's like, oh yeah, he did that in one take. I only do things in one
Hmm.
take. Um, and I feel like that's been working out for me, actually. But it's one of those things where it's just like, um, there's this level of like, just like it's not. You just have to kind of set your mind to be like, all right, I'm gonna set aside 20 minutes and do this, and you just do it and you film it, and then to upload, it's really not that bad because like you just click, okay, you drag and drop it, and then you let it upload, and it's you just kind of wander away and
Oh yeah.
do whatever other stuff you have to do, and then you just kind of piece it all together, because the YouTube editor is really easy. You just kind of piece it together, and then honestly, like the hardest part, the thing that takes me like 10 minutes to do, which I sort of dread after I've filmed it, is to sort of like put the tags in and everything. Like
Oh, I
that's
hate
honestly the
tags.
worst part.
Yeah,
That's honestly the worst part of any of it. Filming it's not that bad, because filming it's like however long the video actually is how long it took me to film it. And uploading it took me no time, because I dragged it and dropped it and walked away. And then I didn't like edit it per se, because I knew what I wanted to do ahead of time. So I just kind of put the clips together, and then once it was all put together, I just sort of like spiked the volume to whatever YouTube would let me spike it to. And just because people complain like it's too quiet, like okay, we'll turn it down now because now it's too loud. Um, and from there it's really just like the hardest part is like you have to like type up a thing and be like, okay, this is this yo-yo and it does this and it's got this, and then you have to put the tags in and all that stuff. And it's like that's the worst part, and that's like the part that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that right now. But other than that part, it's like the hardest part is really just like filming it, which takes exactly as long as you see the film.
yeah.
So
And at least for me, it's difficult to put out a lot of videos because for one, I'm really lazy and I procrastinate at like to everything, anything I want to do. If I want to clean my room, I'll just lay down and watch YouTube for an hour. Um, but also I have like a small room where I film, and I basically have to rearrange and put up everything before I can film. So that takes a long time, and I always never want to do that. And
Yeah.
my videos, like Tom's, are pretty raw. There's like usually a clip in the beginning and a cut, and he puts like some text and stuff over it. But mine are much shorter, and I edit them down a lot, and they're like it's over music and it's very clean, and I have more editing and he has more filming basically, and I almost never want to do that either.
yeah, be less pro. Just go raw. People dig that, because
Yeah,
then people are like, there's this mistake here, and it's like, you're getting this content for free. Like, chill out.
yeah. That video that I sent Dylan Kowalski, the name of the trick I spelled wrong. Oh, that was so stupid. And since
I don't
there's
think anybody noticed.
all the top three comments were like I spelled it wrong, but then since Dylan has dyslexia, and I'm pretty sure I do too, neither of us noticed it, and he titled the video correctly.
So it was right.
Well, the video in my videos, I put like the name of the trick on screen before I do the trick.
Oh, it's not a big
That's what I
deal.
spelled wrong. Yeah. Anyway, back to contests.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So how did we get out here? We were talking about how content create. Yeah, like I've always thought it'd be really cool if they're like just to see like more like content. So like I know a few people at BAC were doing like making like clip videos and doing vlogs about the contest. Like I know I don't mean to just like promote my sponsor, but like
Yeah,
the
do it.
CLIW
No,
put up some vlogs about like leading up to BAC and of the actual contest. And
Roland
like
Balcom did too. This was pretty good.
oh yeah, yeah. I saw that he had a clip video and he was working on a vlog. Did he put up the vlog already?
I don't think he put up the vlog, but he did put up the clip video.
Okay. Yeah, he put up the clip video and that was good. He told me he was working on a vlog too, so I really want to see that because I feel like contest vlogging is like something really cool to do and is
Uh,
also a great way to like get people to come out to contests and do stuff because like I don't know, like maybe it's just because I was there and I like lived through it and I'm in the video, but when I watched Aaron's vlog about BAC, I was like, "Oh my God, yes, like this is like what it felt like to be there, like all the people, and it was so much fun, everyone just hanging out and like yo-yoing and doing stuff. Like I don't know, I felt like it captured a lot of the energy, and if you can capture the energy, then people see that and they're like, oh, that looks fun, I want to go, like I get it. And that's another way. And then like if there's like an easy sport ladder division or something you can just enter for fun, like throw $5 into the ring, like that just gets people interested in coming back and like puts more power and energy and momentum into the community. Stuff like that. Everything's connected, you know?
yeah.
Yeah,
So does
that vlog is great. By the caribou vlog, that vlog is great. I've
Yeah,
watched
I
every
love
one
it.
of them so far, and every one of them's like, oh man, that's really useful. Like it's not only is it like interesting to watch, but it's all really useful content too. It's just like, I mean, particularly for me, but it's like it's all very useful content, and I'm just like, oh
Yeah.
man, that's it. I'm gonna try some of that. I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to like because a lot of it's just like video editing and like picture taking and
I was
stuff like that. I'm
definitely
like,
taking notes on the picture taking one.
yeah, like I've done some of that, and like it's like it helps, and it's like, well, that was really useful and helpful, and I, you don't expect necessarily like a yo-yo vlog to be like helpful in those aspects too, but it was really like one of those things where like after I watched it, I'm like, I've learned something, and now I need to go and improve what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I
Does does that
kudos to him for that.
does that conclude all of our
I
points?
think he told me that there's. I think he told me that there's more stuff like that coming in the future too. So definitely, yeah, it's
Well,
it's an untapped
I'm
market, and
subscribed.
there's a lot of room there.
Yeah, I'll watch the crap out of it because that's what I do. I just watch videos while I hang out with kids. So
Yeah,
it's
I'll make a clip video at Ohio State's.
hey, me too. I'm gonna make everybody do
Sick.
tricks,
Yeah,
including you, Sam.
I'll do
Yeah,
some tricks
please,
for you.
please do. Because I mean, I don't know how long. I know that Tom, you said you started going back in the '90s, but kind of like dropped off a while in the middle. And Sam, I don't know exactly
I've
how
been hearing
long
him for
you've been
about a year.
playing, but I started back in like 2002, I think. And like the way I discovered the community was by like finding like videos of like freestyles and like clip videos and stuff from like worlds and nationals and all those contests. And then I like well, and I started going to like the local contests I could get to, but I never would have like really taken yo-yo seriously at all if I hadn't seen like these videos that weren't just the tricks, weren't just the freestyles, but there are like these old videos from like World 2004. A lot of them aren't even on the internet anymore. I need to find a way to get them and put them up, or someone has to put them up because they're awesome history. But it was just like there were these like 20-minute videos people would make that were like that have like one trick every minute, but most of it would just be like, here's me and all my friends getting pizza, like here's someone shooting spitballs at someone else across the hall, like just all this like fun zany stuff that goes on at contests. It's like the real reason you go,
Yeah,
and I
I'll
feel like people
I'll
don't make those videos anymore.
I'll try to
That's my
capture some of
That
that, but since there's a big age gap between me and Tom, and we've never met before, we probably won't be that comfortable around each other to be shooting spitballs at the back of each other's heads.
but
But
that's
someone
not
else is
true.
probably doing it. You
Sam
just have
has
to
no
catch it.
idea how Sam has no idea how comfortable I would be shooting spitballs at him.
Another
But no,
thing,
it's gonna.
another thing actually that I think is sort of relevant that I don't 100% understand myself is I, I might just like make an idiot of myself here because I have not researched this and I should have and I didn't. But I understand that a few years ago there were like shifts in like the algorithms for like YouTube and Facebook. And I know that Facebook now, like Facebook is all about like promoting like native Facebook video now and kind of doesn't give the same priority and privilege to like shared YouTube links and stuff. And I think that the algorithms on YouTube itself and how it suggests videos and keeps people watching stuff have also sort of changed recently. And I think that those two things and other things like that happening are a big reason that like if you look, and again, part of this is probably just that like older videos have had more time to get more views, so that makes sense. But I do feel like videos used to get like a lot more views, like clip videos and contest videos and stuff. Like you just post it and it was like more people wanted to see it and it was far easier for more people to find it. And now I think it's like it's really hard to get views on anything because of like the algorithms and like everyone's just on Instagram instead and they don't want to watch a 3-minute video and they can see a 15-second trick online. And
yeah,
that is an issue that I'm very interested in trying to like figure out. Or maybe it's not
I
actually an issue and I'm connecting things falsely, but I do think it's
no,
interesting to think and
you're
talk
abs-
about.
Instagram's just too
you're
easy to find content on because you just open up the app and you scroll down and you can see 50 different people doing a trick. But on YouTube, you have to find the videos yourself and find the content creators yourself because when you follow people, like you can get a notification and everything, but it just doesn't start playing. Like you scroll down to it and it just doesn't play. You click on it, you have to kind of uh you have to commit to watching that video more than you would on Instagram.
I
Right,
mean,
the
you're
rise of
you're you're
clickbait.
dead right. You're absolutely correct as far as the YouTube stuff and the Facebook stuff is concerned. It's absolutely all about the way the algorithms changed. And as far as Facebook is concerned, if you're pushing out content on Facebook, like let's say it's not your personal page, like just to your friends, even though to that, I mean, you'll get some stuff out to your friends anyway. But let's say, you've got 500 friends on your friends list and, you're pushing content out that your friends are going to see. Well, all 500 of your friends aren't going to see it. Like the 20 people who you interact with on Facebook most often, those are the people who are going to see it.
Right.
The other 480 people who you casually interact with every now and then, they're not going to see every post you put up. I mean, I would venture a guess to say right now, if I looked at my own Facebook, which I haven't looked at for a while, today, if I pulled it up, I would probably the first 4 or 5 posts I would see would be of mostly political things that were 2 days old. It wouldn't be like, and I know I have like 500 plus friends on my Facebook. I haven't commented on a political thing or shared a political thing in days and days and days, but because that's trending at the moment, that's what's going to get pushed to the top of my feed. And you know, my friends posting pictures of their kids going to Kennywood because now that Kennywood's open. Kennywood's the local like theme park type thing with roller coasters in Pittsburgh. Um, the pictures of my friends putting their kids at Kent, having their kids ride roller coasters at Kennywood isn't going to push to the top of my feed because that's not what's trending, and that's kind of what Facebook is. And YouTube kind of works the same way, where it's like, yeah, okay, somebody who's got, if I have somebody who on, who I'm subscribed to, who I comment on constantly, like, yeah, that's going to pop up, or if I have the notification like dinged, or YouTube's a little better as far as that's concerned, but like you have to actively like say, okay, I want to know when this comes up so that I can watch it. But like as far as finding new content is concerned, you have to actually sort of be determined to look for new content, and that's kind of where it's hard, um, in that regard. The other thing about Facebook is it's absolutely pay to play. So like if I
Oh
want to
yeah.
put money down, like if I want to share a video on Facebook, like I have a Throws and Brews Facebook page, and I've never put any actual money into that, but I'll like tag like, oh, if I do a CLYW review, I'm like, oh, CLYW, or like if I do one drop, like one drop or whatever. And so like I don't have nearly as many followers on Facebook as I do on YouTube, but as far as like that's concerned, like if I tag it, like people will get it from that tag. But if I want to like pay money to like push it to people, it'll push as sponsored, and it'll just like, because I've paid money, like it would push it into your news feed regardless of whether you wanted to see it or not. And
Hmm.
you know, you would sort of be forced to at least look at it and at least scroll past it, if not click on it. And so it kind of comes down to like, do you want to pay to have your content in front of people on Facebook, or do you want to just like continue to post on YouTube and try to just like spam the algorithm to where like anytime anybody posts anything about something, I've always found that particularly like if I get a new yo-yo that's very new, like if I get it as it drops, like that video, if I review that yo-yo as I put it out, will get a lot of views because I'm one of the first people to get it and like say, here's
Hmm.
what I think about it. So anybody else who wants to look at it will look at it. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I had to sort of go and spend, whatever, the 50, 60, $70 to get that yo-yo. And yeah, that video might get, 2,000 views, but that's going to, be a net, cost to me of like, I'm going to get like $2 from that video. And it's like, I spent $70 to get a $2 revenue back, but whatever. I wanted the yo-yo, so I've got the yo-yo. But at the same time, it's just like kind of a, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword, I guess, in that regard.
I think that about concludes all of our points. So thank you all for watching. Have a good night.